Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Got 10 games in the NBA here on Monday, so pretty full slate. And I'm getting an early look at this stuff here on Sunday night. So I'm taking a look at the games that we actually have lines available for. Got some roster news for some teams as well. Other teams waiting on those submissions for the injury reports. So we'll get back to some of those on the live show tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We are coming back with that. Also happy to give you guys a little discount if you do want to jump into the VIP, as we've had 2 straight winning days. First 2 straight days on a weekend that I've won in the past 4 weekends. So very excited to finally have a 2-0 weekend here with some nice wins, up a bunch of units. So we're going to go over all that stuff. Like I said, give you that shot to jump into the VIP with a nice discount. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's jump right into it. Running through how we did here on Sunday, 6-3 plus 3.1 units. So we've lifted ourselves back above 45 units profit on the season. And we take a look at some of these wins here to start. Filipowski, really nice for us there, had 25 points. Should have laddered him to 20 plus as well, but stuck with the 18 plus for the little ladder there to get a couple units made off of Filipowski there on Sunday. Evan Mobley's under 10.5 rebounds was a nice system play that we're going to keep going back to when the Cavs play the Bucks. Evan Mobley is the guy guarding Brook Lopez. So he's pulled out to the three-point line, and Jared Allen actually gets the one-on-one matchup against Giannis, and that leads to a lot more rebounds for Jared Allen and a lot fewer rebounds for Evan Mobley. So as soon as that got up to 10.5 rebounds for him, we went under, and he only ended with 7. And then another little system play here. Keep it on the down low, but Brook Lopez blocks against the Cavs is also a good look because he is guarding Jared Allen. So he's standing down low and waiting for guys to come to him in the lane as he plays that drop defense against the pick and roll that Jared Allen runs, etc. So Brolo blocks has been a cash cow against this Cavs team, and we got plus 110 on it. So nice little 1.1 units there. And then we took Giannis for 30 plus, bypassed the 28.5 points that his core line was at. Loved the fact that he continues to attack against this Cavs team, has now scored at least 30 points in 5 of his last 6 against them. So we'll be looking at that again. And then Tumani against the Pistons. We're going to keep looking at these matchups where guys like Tumani are guarding guys like Cade Cunningham. So when you have a guy who's guarding the primary ball handler and the guy who's standing out above the break, taking the most shots, like a Cade Cunningham, then Tumani Kamara is not in position to get the rebounds, and he's now gone under in both the games that he had against the Pistons here, guarding Cade Cunningham. So it's nice to be able to use past games to actually be able to see how matchups have really played out, and especially when it comes to rebounds. Quick look at the losses here. Jordan Hawkins continues to be this weird dude who gets all these points and looks and usage in the first half, and then we get to the first half and he just disappears. Barely played in the second half and barely took any shots until the very end of garbage time there. So really, I don't know what to do with Jordan Hawkins, even when there's nobody available for the Pelicans. He's just so inconsistent. So it's tough to go back to him, but I will say when he gets the minutes, he's good for almost 20 points when he plays 30 plus minutes. Just had a bad game here in this one. Zach Edey, the bad shooting night for a guy right at the rim. Probably should have just played it safe with the points and rebounds combined, which he hit thanks to the rebounds, but he only ended with 6 points, missed like 6 shots in this game, which is just not what you'd expect from a guy that's shooting, 60+% from the field, taking all of his shots inside of 5 feet, right, 6 feet, and just couldn't make any of them today. So unlucky bounces there. And similar story with Scoot Henderson, 4 for 14 from the field, but Scoot is a good play when Denny Avdia is out, Denny or Jeremy Grant, and Denny was ruled out today. So we went to Scoot and he couldn't deliver there. He ended with 15 PA, mostly because he just couldn't score. 17 PA. So we got the hook there for Scoot because he had 2 assists, 15 points. Decent amount of potential assists, but it was the shooting, 4 for 14 and 2 for 8 from the field, from 3 overall. So rough shooting night for him, but we take that stuff because we got the volume. We'll take 2 winning days in a row. Both had 3+ units. So I'm giving a little 50% off code to the first 5 people who do sign up for the VIP using code 2days. That'll get you 50% off your first month as you jump into the VIP, and hopefully you'll find you get a lot more out of it than just the plays that we're doing. Got expert picks and analysis, true, but you get access to the VIP chat, which has the guest cappers in there that are always active and helping out with all these looks that we're getting every single day, and then opportunity to get one-on-one sports betting meetings with myself to help you pick up some of these good betting habits and look at some of the strategies and tips and processes that I use to every single day when I'm breaking this stuff down. Hopefully help you guys with that and maybe trim some of those bad habits that are hurting you as well. But if that all sounds good, let's go ahead and get into everything that we've got here for Monday. As we jump into Monday, reminder, we're always using Props Madness, the #1 sports betting research tool around for everything you need in the NBA. It's a one-stop shop with everything from advanced filters that help you go ahead and find really simple and past games that really might help you project what's going to happen in this game using a ton of different filters. And then you've got the play type analysis down here where you can see how players are scoring and how defenses limit those types of plays. You can see past players who are similar to these guys, such as RJ Barrett, right? In this case, similar players to him that have gone up against this their matchup here against the Wizards on Monday. And you've also got the season shot chart. So you see where guys are scoring from and where teams are defending them best, right? In terms of places on the court. So really, really useful tool. If you want to use this, definitely sign up using code LYB. You can get 7 free days to make sure that you actually like the platform before you sign up. And then if you do want to sign up, use that code again to get 25% off your first month there using Props Madness. Running down the line here, let's start with Wizards and Raptors. And we should know a couple of the guys that we're not going to be seeing in this game. Brogdon, Holmes, Middleton, Smart, all out here for the Washington Wizards. And then on the Toronto side, a bunch of outs as well. You've got Ochai Agbaji, Grady Dick, Jonathan Mobo, Jakob Poeltl, and Jacoby Walter, all out here you can see for this Toronto squad. So first thing I'm looking at with Poeltl out against the Wizards is going to be the opposing center, and Orlando Robinson still has some very beatable props as they open up. So we're going to see, this is like 6, 7.5. It's not quite available on most books. You can see it's only available on Underdog and Bet Online, which is like Prop Builder. But if we get these numbers here, we can probably going to see like 2-1, 2 plus 250 for an Orlando Robinson double-double. I think this is a play that we got to make. There's nothing here that's going to help you other than if you look at how bad Washington is at limiting everything that centers want to do. We've got a filter here that says defensive rank versus position. And if we put that on, you can see Washington is 30th, limiting points to centers. As far as rebounds go, they're also 30th in terms of rebounds in general, and rebounds allowed to the center position. As you can see, third worst, but basically been around third worst or dead last all season when it comes to the rebounds and the points. So look, Orlando Robinson's going to be a guy that we're going to get value on because the books aren't going to price him. There's nothing to use to price him high. So I think we're going to get value on him, and he should be good for 28 to 30 minutes. As this Raptors team, while they might be down to play small, they're not going to have another center, and they're very, very thin overall with the amount of guys available. So I think we're going to be seeing a good amount of Orlando Robinson, probably about 30 plus minutes. And there's going to be value like on a high upside play, like a double for nearly 3-1 if we can get it here on Monday. Rolling down to the Hornets and the Heat here. Charlotte is in Miami. And we've got a couple things on the Charlotte side where Tijon Solon is out, the Rook, and then Nurk is probably back in there. But we're going to have LaMelo and Mark Williams both back as well. And then for the Heat here, we're going to see Alec Burks, Haywood Highsmith, and Duncan Robinson all questionable for the Heat. First look I'm going to as we really get into the matchups, and this is something I want to start doing with you guys more on these episodes, is showing you who the matchups, the player versus player matchups are really going to be, because that's going to help us find a lot of the bets. And I want to make sure you guys are hip to that stuff. So for Davion Mitchell, his matchup for this game is going to be LaMelo Ball, and I believe that's going to be the case on both sides of the court. So Davion's guarding LaMelo, LaMelo guarding Davion. So what do we do with that? We know Davion's going to be out there for minutes, right? When Davion plays against a team where he's really needed to limit the other team's primary ball handler and best player, then he's playing a lot of minutes. So look at this game against the Bulls. Nobody really for him to defend, like Kobe White, sure, but it's not like you need to really shut down Kobe White in order to have, stop the Bulls, which they lost that game, and Kobe White went the hell off. But it wasn't really, Davion was playing 30 minutes. It wasn't quite the same matchup. You look at other games where he was really, really needed against like one of their best players, like when he played 37 minutes against the Knicks so he could guard Jalen Brunson, when he played 37 against the Pacers so that he could guard Tyrese Halliburton, and Trae Young, same thing game before, 37 minutes so he could guard Trae Young in that game, right? In those games, he's scoring a lot more because he's playing a lot more. You come back to the Timberwolves, bad matchup, but he wasn't the main defender there on Ant Edwards either. So that's a big reason why he wasn't playing. It wasn't really necessarily needed as much. But either way, you look at this game against this Hornets team, he's going to be needed for minutes. What I'd like to bet in this situation would be something like rebounds, because if you look at him, and I'm going to put him in the games that he's played with Tyler Hero this season, he's played with Tyler Hero in 10 games. Rebounds look really good. He's averaging 2.2, but you get this plus money at plus 135, and you give him the 30-ish minutes, right? And you expect him to have decent rebound chances, 7 rebound chances. That seems to be about his average when he's playing at least about 30 minutes with the Heat. So you like the math, you like the math that adds up there, but the problem is the rebounds are going to be tougher for him to come by in this matchup, in my opinion, because he is guarding LaMelo, who doesn't really ever come inside the lane unless he's shooting, in which case Davion's in bad position to get rebounds because he's always guarding the guy who's shooting, right? So rebounds are going to be tough to come by, but I think points are the play in this situation. I think with the fact that LaMelo Ball is guarding him, that gives him a really nice edge on the offense as well, because LaMelo is not trying very much. Like when LaMelo tries, he's actually not a bad defender. but I don't see him putting forth that effort. He rarely does. So that should give Davion an edge on the points. Not ready to play this yet. I think we might get this at 6.5 for Davion, but due to the matchup and the minutes that we can project for him, I like an over on his points more than any of the other stats here. A sneaky sort of similar play to Davion's sort of thought process here is Josh Green, where he's going to be guarding Tyler Hero. So the matchup is going to be Hero guarding Green, Green guarding Hero. And we know Tyler is not the best defender, but I can't get there with Josh Green points because he just doesn't shoot enough no matter who he plays against. If we look at him head to head in this last matchup, he did have 6.5 points, but it's based on, he didn't even have the threes. So if we get him at about 5.5, maybe you like it. He took 7 shots in that game, and he is an ideal player to get the points. It's just that he doesn't inspire much confidence because he doesn't shoot very often. But if you look at the matchup, this is perfect, right? Like he shoots, let's see, he scores 41% of his points from the corner. 22% from this corner, 19% from this corner. And this Heat defense is bad, limiting corner threes. They always have been, and they are again this season. Overall, between both corners behind the three-point line, they're like bottom 10, limiting threes to opponents, right? And it's all off the catch and shoot. As we can see here, they're 24th versus the spot up. So guys like Josh Green have success against them. So if you get the points below 6.5, I like it. Might be able to get half a three. We'll see. I think this will be 1.5 for plus money. So that's what I'll be considering here. When you, like I said, you look at the shots that he took last time. He was 0 for 2 from 3, but 3 for 7 from the field, because if they do close out on him, then he's driving into the lane. So I'm going to take him on the points if we can get this at 5.5 tomorrow. And the other thing to consider here is because he's guarding Tyler Hero on the other end, the rebounds are probably a good under. Let's see if we can get this at like 3.5 or maybe 2.5 for plus money. If this is 1.5 on the rebounds, I'm not going under, but I do like under 2.5 boards for plus money. Or if we come out with 3.5 on real books, not this ESPN rinky dink Rudy Poo stuff, like real sports books, when they come out with either a 2.5 line or even 3.5 on the rebounds for Green, I doubt we'll see it, but 2.5 is probably going to be a good under. He only had 3 rebound chances in this last game versus Miami because he's just chasing Tyler Hero around, always out of position for the boards. So in summation, because I know a lot of people don't love how much I jump around, I like an over 5.5 points for Josh Green. And if we get 2.5 boards for anything close to even money, I like an under rebounds for Josh Green. You'll notice I'm skipping over Jazz, Celtics, 76ers, Hawks. We don't have any reports here for the Jazz yet, and we don't have it for the 76ers. They actually have Tyrese Maxey listed with props here. It looks like on like Fliff, people are betting on him, or Underdog. So Maxey might play, I guess. This 76ers team is a tire fire, so not sure what to do with that. For the Lakers, we already know that LeBron is out, and we know that Cam Thomas is out for the Nets. Luka is questionable, so is Jackson Hayes. So we kind of got to wait to see what we're going to get from those guys before we could really bet on Lakers and Nets as well. But we can come down to the Grizz and Phoenix Suns and start to project some stuff here. Now, we do know that Phoenix and Memphis don't have any injury reports yet available, so we're not exactly sure who's going to be playing or who's not. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to be coming off a back-to-back after beating the Pelicans by 3 here on Sunday. So Ja hasn't played very many back-to-backs. If you select back-to-back, you can see he's played 4 of them this season, and the points are very, very high, even for, Ja Morant, again, in a very good matchup against Phoenix. He did do well in this matchup in the last game, climbed over with 29 points in that one. 7 for 25, though, from the field, relied on going 14 of 14 to barely climb over. So the way Ja's been playing this season, as good as this matchup is, it's a very, very high number at 27.5, but that's not where I'm starting with this one. Where I'm starting with this one is going to be looking at the matchups once again, and it's important to see how these guys have guarded each other in the past. So if you start on the Phoenix side, Booker is going to be guarded by Jalen Wells. Brad Beal and Ja Morant are going to guard each other on both sides. Again, assuming Ja Morant is playing, it'll be Morant and Beal. Desmond Bane actually guards Kevin Durant, and that's a really interesting matchup there for a couple of reasons, which we'll get into in a minute. Then you're going to see Royce O'Neal, I believe. He's going to be guarded, or Bol, one of the two, but they're going to be guarded by Vince Williams, who's now going to be starting because Jaren Jackson is out for this team for Memphis, and we're probably going to not see a couple other guys as well. So you're going to have that matchup right there with Bol and or Royce O'Neal, whichever one of them starts, they'll be matched up with Vince Williams Jr. And then Kevin Durant and Bane, like I said, will guard each other. Nick Richards and Zach Edey then obviously at the center positions. So let's start with Brad Beal, because if we look at the last game, and I've got looks mostly for the Phoenix players here, but if we start with Brad Beal, the points are going to be a good look for him in this situation. Let's look at the last game they played. He played 43 minutes with overtime, so about 38 minutes without overtime. We know he's getting high 30s nowadays with this Phoenix Suns squad. Prior game only played 12 minutes because he left with the injury. So in this last game, 9 for 20, this is a lot more of what I think we're going to see because he's going to be getting Ja Morant. That's the easiest matchup of all the guys here for Phoenix. And that's a big reason why they were like, all right, Brad, go do your thing. Take 20 shots in that game. If you look at the Kevin Durant in that last game, he took 19 shots. And then Booker in that last game took, 20 shots as well. So these guys have like most of the usage between the three of them, all at like almost 30%. Not many other shots available. These are the only guys I'd be looking at. But the play here is going to be Brad Beal for the points more than anything because 20 shots should be good. He had a bad shooting game. But the other thing you like here is it's a really great matchup for his player type. Spot up shooters or guys that like to get out into transition. Whenever I see both of those that the other team is bad at, I'm going to go for Brad Beal. So he's scoring 25% of his points off spot up. This is the 8th worst defense versus spot up. Then he's scoring another 16% of his points off transition. And this is the 3rd worst transition defense in the league for the Memphis Grizzlies. So looking at the points here, 17.5, probably get this at 16.5 tomorrow. As you see, 17.5 is even money to the over on DraftKings. So it kind of indicates it might keep bumping down as other books also have this at 16.5. So we like we like Brad Beal for an over on the points. Even more than that, I like an over on the assists for Devin Booker. It looks like this is getting hit. So this opened at minus 125, even money on DraftKings here. Someone's clearly bet this overnight already down to minus 125 on the odds for 7.5. And you look at the head-to-head against this team for Booker, some pretty nice hit rates here, 3 for 3. Now in the first game, he had 9 dimes, but only 10 potentials, right? Then the next 2 games, the potential assists are what you love. 19 to get 9, and in this last game, 17 to get 10. If Booker gets 17 potential assists, I'm going to take him to get 8 dimes, or I would take him up to 9 dimes, right? If he's getting 17 potential assists. If we look on the season, Booker is averaging 6.9, nice, assists per game, right? How many potential assists is he averaging per game? About 12.5, right? So he's getting about 60%, almost 58%, whatever it is, of his potential assists turning into assists. So if he gets 17, that means he's getting at least 8, if not 9 dimes. And he's been averaging about 17 potential assists against this Memphis team with just one of these games with a low number. But when he plays with both Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, he's very good for the assists here. Let's look at that. If we put Kevin Durant in and Brad Beal, both of them playing with him on the season, he's at 7.4 assists per game. Actually, it's a better number. I think it's like 7.3. So 7.3 total on the season with both these guys. And if you look at him without, like, just take Brad Beal and put him off the court. If you put him on court rather, then you see that goes, off court, Brad Beal. You see that number for the assist, 6.9, not quite 7.3. It's the points that go up for Devin Booker when he's playing without Brad Beal. So assuming Brad's in this game, because we still don't have the injury report, but we're assuming Brad Beal is in which case I love the over on the assists for Devin Booker, up to about 9 assists in this game. That's what I have him projected for. As we get into one more play within this game specifically, go ahead and give the video a like if you're getting anything out of this. Does a lot to support the channel, so much appreciated if you want to show some love. But let's go to Kevin Durant. The bet that I like for KD, boards. Gotta like boards in this one. They're still at 5.5. I don't think that's going to be available by the time a lot of you watch this on Monday. I think this will probably be 6.5. If we get 6.5 for plus money, then I think this is a good bet. If you get 5.5, anywhere down to like minus 140 on the odds, I still think that's a good over for Kevin Durant. The reason being here, when you look at KD in this matchup, right? Not in the past, he's played this team 3 games, right? If you look at these 2 games that he's gone over, he had 16 rebound chances. In the first one, 10 boards. Second one, 11 rebound chances, 8 boards, right? Middle game, only 8 rebound chances, just 3 boards. So what was the difference? Well, for starters, it was who he was guarding. In this game right here on February the 11th, he was guarding Jaren Jackson Jr. Not a good matchup for rebounds, first of all, because Jaren Jackson Jr. is a tough, big dude who's very strong and stronger than KD. Better rebounder overall, I'd say. And then the other thing is Jaren Jackson Jr. plays most of the time out on the 3-point line where he likes to either catch and shoot, or he likes to catch and then drive to the rim and go up with either his left or his right, which he's really good at. Well, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not available in this game. In these other 2 games, he did not guard Jaren Jackson Jr. he guarded Vince Williams for the most part. And in the first game here, he actually guarded John Conchar more than anything else. And John Conchar is a guy standing in the corner, waiting for threes in the spot up, right? Well, Vince Will is going to be doing the same thing. And that's what he did in this game on February the 25th when Vince Williams was out there. He was guarding Vince Williams a lot more than anybody else, and a lot more than even Jaren Jackson Jr. And he was guarding some Santi Aldama as well. And Santi plays in the corner as well, some above the break, but he's a spot up guy. So Kevin Durant is playing in position closer to the baseline when he's going up, especially against Vince Williams, where he's now in a great position to get rebounds. That's why his chances are higher. That's why his rebound totals were higher when he was not guarding Jaren Jackson Jr., and he will not be guarding Jaren Jackson Jr. in this game. Plus, you look at the fact that when he's playing with Book, Brad Beal, Nick Richards, Bol, he's been needed a lot more on the rebounds lately. You can see in these last 4 games alone, 17 rebound chances, 8, but then 12. And I mean, against the Mavs, they didn't have the player tracking data, but he had 9 boards, right? So we know that he's been getting a lot more involved in the rebounds over the course of basically since the All-Star break, where he's needed to step up a lot more. And this is a matchup where, because of the guy that he's guarding, who's going to be Vince Williams, who's like the 4th option on this offense, it's going to be a good spot for him to be in position to get those rebounds. All right, that's all we've got for right now, as we still wait for a lot of these lines and injury news to come out. But do remember, we got the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, every single weekday. Apologies for missing on Friday. Also missed on Saturday. Needed to regroup, spend a little bit more alone time with these bets as we finally got those winning days in a row, like I said. But we're back here on Monday to help you all out. So hopefully we'll see you in there. Bring your bets, jump in the comments, and we'll go over all this stuff together. And don't forget, if you do want to jump into the VIP, have 5 codes. 2 days is the code to get 50% off your first month of VIP access. So hope to see y'all in there. And until I do, happy betting.